This podcast is the sole property of Proud Sports. Our thoughts and opinions are our own.
Yeah. They say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. But they ain't got what's running through these veins. Say I walk like a king, talk like a king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. But they ain't got what's running through these veins. Make way for the king.
What is up, Proud Panthers podcast, and happy Friday to you. After High Point gets a win, 84-81, we're here to talk about it on the podcast home for everything High Point University basketball. I'm Stephen Beck, and at Stephen Beck PS is the way you can follow along with me on X, as well as at Proud Panthers for this podcast. And we have a website, proudsports.com, but I will say, just some early news here. It's going to go through a rebrand here pretty soon. Working on an exciting project that way. I'm always tinkering. You'll find out the more you get to know me. I'm always shifting and moving and changing and trying different things. And, it's all fun. And so we're excited to be able to share some new stuff with you coming up. We're going to get to High Point University's win against the Blue Hose national TV game from last night. Plus, we have words from High Point's head coach, Flynn Clayman. That'll be up immediately after this.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
Wake up the Carolina way. Hi, this is Stephen Beck. Join me every Saturday morning for Waking Up Proud. We've got local eats, hot sport takes, and a whole lot of Triad and Carolina flavor. From barbecue debates to big game breakdowns, we've got your Saturday mornings covered. Wake up, chow down, and cheer on. Carolina mornings start here with Waking Up Proud. Saturday mornings, 9 to 11 on WSJS. The morning show that feels like home. High Point gets a win, 84-81 here at home tonight. Now 7-1 in the Big South Conference, and Coach Flynn Clayman joining us afterwards. Coach, thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
This is, in my opinion, an easily trapped game for a couple different reasons. One, High Point fans are always eager and kind of antsy when we start seeing Longwood on the schedule, and I know that's coming up this weekend. But more than that, to give some credit to the Blue Hose and Quentin Farrell. He is a crafty coach that I feel like always has his guys prepared. Your thoughts on maybe what you see from them and how this is really a sneaky, solid win?
Yeah, I mean, they give people trouble all the time. They had Winthrop on the ropes last game. They've given us trouble the previous 4 games, the last 2 seasons. What he does is he kind of plays opposite, and what I mean by that is he doesn't have a ton of resources and whatnot there, so he's trying to pick a style that can be advantageous. So they really kind of play old school. They slow it down. They try to just play through the post. And they try to lower the possessions and out-physical you. And when players these days are so used to free-flowing, space, shooting offense, and then if your shots aren't falling, next thing you know, they're in a dogfight with you, and that's what they did tonight. So a ton of credit to him.
I want to ask you about Jonah Pierce, because he played well tonight for the Blue Hose, but it's also partially thinking about other guys like Tucker for Longwood and also Logan Duncombe for Winthrop, some big guys that are giving people some fits. How do we try to slow them down?
Well, if we don't have an answer for it, then we're going to need to make more of those threes and more of those shots at the rim. That's where my mind starts to go sometimes. Yusuf kind of stepped up a little today. Now, he got put in the basket a couple times on post-ups. There's different things we can do on post-ups. Today was the first time that we kind of guarded it one-on-one. And I wasn't totally disappointed in the effort of it, but Jonah's a good player. I mean, he's a good player. Was he preseason first team, I think, or second team, whatever it was? He's a good player. He's tough to stop. But you're hitting it on the head. Like, the big guys have been giving us trouble. Teams who are physical like that have been giving us trouble. I don't want to run from it. I don't want to hide it, because we just got to get better at it before we get to March. So we've been focused on it. I thought we had some games where we did step up, like that we've kind of forgot about, like the LaSalle game. They were very physical. Illinois-Chicago, who's won 7 in a row in the Missouri Valley, was very physical. And so we've shown these windows where we've stepped up. Longwood, the first time we played them, very physical. So we've had these moments where we've stepped up and done it, so we're capable of doing it. But tonight wasn't our best effort on the physicality standpoint.
I know Panthers fans are dying to know your thoughts on Cam Fletcher coming back and rejoining the team tonight.
I'm just proud of him. He's done a lot of work to be rejoined with the team. I think he's has a really good heart. I think he's got a really bright future. I hope he's all right physically. We're getting him checked out now, but I'm proud of him. And then he's been through some personal stuff with his family, and losing a close family member also on top of everything. So proud of him. He's showing a lot of character. He's showing that he wants to represent High Point the right way. So I'm just proud of him.
I don't love to look way ahead in the schedule, and now here we are again talking snow and travel as we visit Longwood coming up this weekend. But the back half, just in reality, is a lot heavier of home games here inside the Cobain Center. So thinking of that, you got a hurdle this Saturday at Longwood. Thoughts looking ahead to that one?
Well, Longwood is the only team now in our league that we are not above 500 against. When I say we, I'm talking about the last 2 years, because that's our when our program started in terms of me being here. So they've beat us 2 times up there, both in close games, and then they beat us on the conference tournament game. So so we're 3-3 against Longwood right now. We haven't beat them up there since 2018. I saw that. They're a tough physical matchup. They had a bad loss tonight, so they're going to be fired up and ready to play. It's never fun to play a talented team after they lost a game that they probably feel like they shouldn't have. So we got our work cut out for us, but we'll go up there and give it our best.
Late night game, good win, Coach. Get some rest, and thanks for the time.
Thanks, appreciate it. Go Panthers.
That was Flynn Clayman, head coach of High Point, after the Panthers win 84-81 Thursday night inside the Cobain Center. That was the late night game. And I'm happy to say I survived. No, in all seriousness, I am usually, man, just against the late night tips. But it was fun. It was a great atmosphere. I have to start there. Happy to see that a large portion of the student body showed out. And it was good, because I think we needed that. The team needed that. This was a dogfight. You heard Coach Clayman say it there. What Quentin Farrell does is I almost feel like he over plans. You can tell that he is very good when it comes to set style plays, when he's able to script things for his team. And in that, as you heard as well, you shorten possessions, you limit the other team and maybe the style of play or what they want to try to do, and it's easy for them to kind of sneak up on you that way. Now, the other component to it here is that for a High Point fan, I'm not saying that this is so much the way that the players see it, but for a High Point fan, we have a Longwood game coming up this weekend where it would be easy also to be looking ahead to that and say, okay, well, Presbyterian at home, yeah, kind of middle of the road style conference team. Longwood, somebody we've had a lot of history with. Apparently we haven't won in Virginia since 2018. That's tough. So it would just be easy for us to look ahead and say, oh, yeah, let's kind of gloss over this one. Now, some things that I felt like would be, first and foremost for me to kind of dive into from last night's game before we start looking ahead to Longwood would be this inside post style player that it gave us fits against Winthrop for sure. Last night, Jonah Pierce gave us some fits. And I'll say this, for Tucker with Longwood the first time around, we actually handled him pretty good. And so I asked Coach Clayman there after the game about slowing down a Jonah Pierce or a Logan Duncombe, because I do see that struggle from last night. Pierce ended up with 25 points in this game on 9 of 15 shooting. Not bad there. Did get to the line 10 times. Ended up with his double-double with 10 rebounds as well. But that'll be a similar setup that we have to be prepared for playing Winthrop. And the reality is, last night it sounds like we played that more of a singled up, man on man. I know that in other scenarios, I've seen us wall up and double some of the play around the short corner of a post. Ultimately, against these guys like a Jonah Pierce, a Logan Duncombe, I think it could be done either way. Where you risk, and it probably would have been a safer bet, in my opinion, last night against this Blue Hose team than it would be against a Winthrop who has, I would say, at least 2 guys, 3 really, that could step out and knock down a 3-ball. If you throw additional resources, additional men to try to disturb a post player, you're going to be giving up more exterior looks. That's just the way that it's going to go. Now, last night, I'll say that Tristan Wilson shot way above his averages. Honestly, this was a recipe for an upset, really, because this Presbyterian team for the whole game shot 50+% from both the field and 3-point range, plus almost 80% from the free throw line. And they out-rebounded us by a very slim margin by 5. You start talking about all those things, if you just had those statistics to go off of and didn't know the score, and somebody was asking you what you thought, I would think it's a fair bet to say, oh yeah, that's a recipe for an upset. What won us the game, where you drill back down to it, and where I was going to go next, but we'll jump there real fast, is the 15 turnovers that we forced. That's big, plus the 11 steals that we had. That's the difference right there. Those 2 things for me won us that game. And you could also add in execution at the end, because we haven't always seen that. Against App State, we missed some free throws that would have altered and changed the outcome of that game. And against SIU at home, if you just recall, end of half and end of game, we had opportunities both times to execute a play, and we didn't. Now, last night, a guy that at the end of that SIU game ended up turning the ball over, and that's Conrad. At the end of the half last night, he Euro-stepped in for a layup to end the first half of play, and that was drawn up. That was out of a timeout. That was exactly what you need if you have 2 guys like Rob Martin and Conrad handling the ball. You got to execute. You got to close it out, especially with the resources that we have from Flynn Clayman being our head coach. He is equally a wizard when it comes to offensive sets and things that we can do. So I worry about the idea of doubling up a Logan Duncombe. I worry a little bit, not as much with Pierce and Tucker, but if we're just thinking, okay, mano a mano with Winthrop right now, both teams 7-1 in the league. If that's the giant we have to slay to win the conference, then I don't think we can play it that way. So the question might be, Stephen, what would you do to try to slow down Logan Duncombe? It comes back to toughness a little bit. It comes back to grit. I'm happy that when this was a dogfight last night, we pulled out a win. That is growth shown from earlier games I already referenced this season. I'll go on a step further, and I'm happy to say that was done really without Cam Fletcher, and really was done without as deep of a bench tonight as we would normally see. Our points off the bench tonight was just 14. That number has been easily doubled a lot of times throughout this season, and that just didn't play out last night. So to go through a dogfight, gritty style team that is super prepared, they shoot not out of their mind, but way above their average. And then you have to do it by getting out rebounded and figuring some stuff out. That is really a solid win. I mean, it's not going to be something that would ever be a big resume booster if somebody's just looking from afar, but people that really know ball and they really can watch this and see kind of how High Point played in this, it's sneaky good. But I think against Logan Duncombe, it's got to be more the mindset. It's got to be it's got to be Owen. It's got to be Terry, starting with those guys. Throw in a couple different looks at Logan and having the mindset that we're not going to let this guy beat us. That's the mindset. We're not going to. We're willing to force Winthrop to take the outside shots. If they are able to knock them down, then yeah, it's going to be a ball game. But I would rather go into it forcing them to take that option as opposed to just watching Duncombe, drop 30. He's bound to get a favorable whistle. That's just the way it's been all season. I would like to see the toughness of those two guys, Owen and Terry, be the first ones thrown at him. Now, after that, if Yusuf can come in, and last night he's +5. He didn't score, but he did some other things there to get some offensive rebounds, get a couple of deflections. But he's going to have to play tough. That's not Yusuf's natural demeanor. Or his mentality. If you've ever met the dude, he is like that. I don't think he would squash a ladybug. This dude is super nice, and I love that about him. But he's going to have to play tough. Now, Caden, he didn't get minutes last night. Probably has a little bit to do with Cam coming back. You start juggling minutes a little bit different. But if it's Caden, that dude is built like a football player. He's going to have to talk to his dad ahead of the game and say, okay, this is how we're doing it. And all of this really applies to Longwood coming up this weekend as well. I don't want to overlook that game. I'm not trying to skip to Winthrop. I just know we handled Tucker pretty well the first game. We did not with Logan. Last night with Jonah Pierce, yeah, I could say that it wasn't done the greatest. I will give Owen this nod, though. He and Jonah were chippy, and I don't mind that. I mean, that's part of it. You got to be that way with these guys. You can't just let it be a super free pass. we talked about Cam a little bit. You heard me ask Coach Klayman about Cam. Now, I haven't received any official wording beyond what you just heard. Cam did fall late in, well, not late, but about halfway through the second half, and appeared to hurt his wrist. Went and got a little bit of, treatment for it, came back, was on the bench, but didn't re-enter the game. And so it's uncertain if there's anything bad or critical there with that. But just off of his other play, I thought he gave good effort. That's something I wanted to see. You just don't know the mentality of a guy who hadn't been with the team for 6 games, but he seemed locked in. He seemed like he was giving his effort there. But this is really the point I wanted to make, and I would have rather have seen Cam go off and drop 20 plus points and grab 10 plus rebounds and it'd be a double-double, and everybody, after the game is talking about, geez, man, so happy to have this guy back. But he really laid out the point that I've made about Cam the entire time. Yes, he gives us a better chance to win. His talent and his abilities and an added depth piece are welcome to this team and needed. But it's not the end all be all. This is a whole team type deal. And it really is more about how the team is approaching their roles and the game and the style of play that they're doing than one guy and that level of talent. So, Cam's contribution to the game, sure, it was there and effort felt. But again, I don't want us to just assume that because Cam is back, nothing else matters. Or let's say Cam has his wrist injured and now he's out again. Well, honestly, we fared well either way. And that is what I would expect out of a team that went through this stretch without him already. And they are starting to figure out, I think, some of what really works best and is needed. There really wasn't any other huge surprises here, but I want to mention a couple of guys because I feel like they deserve some credit that maybe otherwise goes unseen. First is Scotty Washington. Scotty, I feel like, has had to grow into a new role than I don't think he's been accustomed to prior to High Point. And that journey through this season has kind of been an interesting one to watch. He starts the season in the starting lineup, goes through some tough, dry shooting spells. We stick him to the bench, and I really felt like coming off the bench that did him some good. He seemed to come into the game a little bit more settled and comfortable for that time. And then because of some injuries and different things, remember Vincent Brady was hurt with his finger. And, we've also talked a lot about juggling around Cam not being here. Well, now Scotty's back into the starting lineup. And I don't know that we've seen a Scotty Washington yet this year that we can count on, because I don't have a good feeling of what we're going to get on a nightly basis. But last night in the second half, he came out and I feel like got the wheels turning for our team and kept them going when we could have hit some rough waters and it could have detoured us to turn towards a bad direction. He got into the lane, hit a couple of shorter mid-range style jump shots. used his physical ability. And so that helped propel us. The other person I wanted to give a nod to again is Braden Hassan, because even when people question whether or not he is, I don't know if deserving is the right way to put it, but maybe they don't expect him to be a starter or to be a player that gets 30 plus minutes like he did last night. I'm here to tell you you're dead wrong. I mean, I'm here to say that there are two guys on this team that are my most welcome, appreciated stories of the year. The first is Terry Anderson, and I've preached and would to ad nauseum over how far he has come in one season's time. At one time, it looked like he was out there on roller skates, like a newborn giraffe, and now he is dominant and making plays on the defensive end that are just as important on the offensive end. And quite a few times, just like I mentioned about Yusuf earlier, I know that T5 came away with some pretty key deflections and plays. But Braden is the second guy for this season coming in to transform his body and work as hard as he has to make a place for him on the roster. I'll mention in the post-game press conference last night, Coach Klayman was asked about Braden and answered it basically that way. Like, Braden's forced my hand. He's forced me to give him minutes and play him. And that is really what I've noticed from the way that he changed his body, from the way that he's developed his game. I mean, last year in the limited times that we saw him, he had a great court vision, still has that, will find people all over the place. He also had his three-point shot, pure shooter, and he still has that. But now he's developed into a player that is willing to go down and back down a player, get into the paint, who's also willing to throw himself around at loose rebounds. Defensively, he has now become more mobile than he was. And I think he can get better if he just keeps grinding away at that and working at it and staying in this system with this coach. I will say, first guy that I would be having conversations with myself right now, because I know how difficult it is in this era of basketball to try to keep a player. He'd be one of the first for me. I'd go right there and I'd say, Braden, we can really keep working on your game and do a number if you just stay here. Give some more time here. Look how far you've come. Let us continue that journey with you. But those two guys last night, Scotty, Braden, I feel like both of them deserve some commentary. A little bit of breaking news to leave you with as we look ahead to the Longwood game this weekend. And yes, the Lancers lost on the road to USC Upstate prior to our High Point game last night. That's going to mean a lot of things. We got weather coming in. That also has a little hand in this. I mean, this is a little inside baseball, but you would think, this is me thinking, you would think that this game had the same possibility of being moved, just like our game against Radford last weekend. And it didn't. I wonder why that might be. From my vantage point, I would say if I'm the host team, I want to catch you when you're coming off of a shorter rest. You just played a late night game on Thursday. I want to catch you after that because we're playing earlier on Saturday. I don't want to let you move it beyond Saturday to Sunday or to Monday to fit it in. I'd rather catch you now. That's my thought. The other part to it, though, is after they just lost, you're telling me they're not already going to be motivated for this game? So I would expect to get Longwood's best shot, as we often receive everybody's best shot. But the breaking news to leave you with here on the Proud Panthers podcast this morning. Direct from the program, all is good, no issues with Cam's wrist. And that's great. As I said, we need him. He's needed just like everybody else on the team. It's a whole vessel that's got to work together. Glad to hear that we're not going to have to be without him immediately after we just got him back. And again, I think that his energy and his effort, all of that was there. It's just, it's more time. It's his agreeableness to infiltrate himself right back in and work on all this same stuff I've been saying that the whole team needs to be about. So that is your High Point Panthers, 7-1 in the Big South, 84-81 win over Presbyterian. We've got the game with Longwood coming up this weekend, afternoon game. We'll be back on Monday, another Proud Panthers podcast right here talking about that game, and we hope you'll join us again soon.